Hello everyone, nubkeks here, welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video we're going to be actually starting a brand new series where we dive into the arena and I show you some of the most common, most effective team comps that you can build for the arena for PvP in Raid Shadow Legends. And today we're actually starting out with a couple of late game examples actually right here on both sides of the match. We're going to be looking at the double speed boost team, the speed team, in its most its most effective form, essentially. And I will be showing you, of course, some beginner, some early game versions of this team, as well as these more late game versions as well. But what is this double speed team? How does it work? And what are also its strengths and its weaknesses? Well, this is how it works. Effectively, we're going to have two speed boosters, right? So in this case, we have Arbiter. Arbiter is pretty much, the best option for this team, though there are other options. But Arbiter, she has a 30% speed aura. She also has this move, Mentor of Heroes, 50% increased attack buff, and fills turn meters by 30%. So she is going to do that. Then in this case, I'm going to have a Mithrala. She's going to put hexes on the enemy teams, which is a debuff that we need. This can go slightly wrong because of a mastery, which is one of the weaknesses. I'll talk about that in a second because that was an actual attack. We'll talk about that in one of the weaknesses. So we can ignore her for now, but we'll come back to it. Then the other speed booster in this case is Lanicus the Chosen. So she actually does an ally attack. She teams up with 3 random allies in the arena. That is effectively our entire team. But it also fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%. So here we go. She's going to do her move. We will target their Arbiter. Boom, boom, boom. And in fact, the ally attack did most of the work. I actually think that right there, we saw one of the masteries kicking in, most likely. And then we can have our nuker effectively then comes in, although she has already killed half of them. And then she blows them up like so, and that is how it works, right? This is how this composition works. If we look at the enemy team, what do they have? Well, they have actually effectively the same setup. They are also a speed team, except obviously he is an earlier game player. He's a newer player. He's level 71. I'm level 100, so we're picking on the little guy here effectively. So he's a newer player, doesn't have as good gear, not fully leveled up, etc., which is why we were able to win. He was close to winning, though. But Arbiter fills his turn meter. I think actually Lady Kimmy was his fastest champion. She does the same thing. She increases her team's turn meter, gives them increased speed. Deacon Armstrong also does the same thing. He boosts his team's turn meter, decreases the enemy team's turn meter. He also puts decreased defense out. And then Chandrafon, he has a nuker who will then come in and blow stuff up. So that is how it works. Now let's look at an earlier game version of this team. I'm not going to run it because we would lose, but if I was building this earlier on, let me show you this, just the champions, the sort of champions you're looking for. And then after that, let's look at the key stats, because there's a key thing you need to do to make this team work, and also a couple of things to watch out for. So I think Haikatun will be your go-to early game. You get her for free after playing the game for a month. She's the login reward for 1 month. She gives you that 19% speed aura for all battles, and then she has a 15% turn meter fill with a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. She's got good base speed, so she is, your typical, gonna be your fastest champion when you first start out, which effectively means putting her in your fastest gear. You're gonna go through your account, you're gonna look at what is the highest possible speed I can put on this character, and I literally do not care about any other stat. I literally don't care. I can put her in the most ridiculous gear possible. It doesn't matter. Preferably 3 speed sets of gear with the most speed substats we can get. That is all we care about. So she'd be in there. And we put in another turn meter booster. Seeker he's actually probably best in class here, because he has this move, 30% turn meter fill, and gives us increased attack, right? Also, he has an extra turn. Then he can go in and he can provoke the enemy team's fastest champion or their nuker or something. So he's pretty much best in class here. But there are other options as well, like Old Hermit York from the Orcs, Sachi from the Shadowkin. We're effectively looking for someone that can increase our attack and also give us some turn meter, right? In fact, if you look at it, for all intents and purposes, as an opening move, this is actually even better than Arbiter, because Arbiter gives you 30% turn meter and increased attack, but actually Seeker gets an extra turn out of it. Arbiter does some healing when you're low on health, but for the purposes of going first, you don't actually need that healing. So yeah, Seeker, ironically, is kind of better right there. Gore Grab, I'll also point out, is a very good option for Speed Aura. But anyway, let's continue building this team. We throw in something like a War Maiden. War Maiden would come in and she would place decreased defense AoE. So now we have increased attack, decreased defense, and then we'd have our starter champion come in and they would nuke and do the most damage possible. Now, how does this team actually work? Well, I want to direct your attention to this. This is an arena calculator made by Zombie Lord. This is actually hosted on deadwoodjedi.com. So what you can go and do, and you should do for your team to figure out the speeds that you need. And this illustrates exactly how the double turn meter boost works. You can fill in the speed aura that you have, your champion, what move they're going to use, if they have the Lore of Steel Mastery, how many speed sets, blah, blah, blah. Let me show you. I've actually built a couple out here to show you exactly how it works. So, for example, if I build a sample one here with Haikatoon, so Haikatoon, 19% speed, cool. Let's say Haikatoon, she's going to use her turn meter boosting move first. That's her A2, excellent. Does she have Lore of Steel? Yes. 3 speed sets. And let's say that hypothetically we've built her with 280 speed. That's as fast as we can go, because I think it shows you just how effective this is when it comes to making your nukers go. We have Seeker comes in then with A2. Now he needs to have, right, 332 speed. What this means, this minimum speed, means that you will not be interrupted. That if Haikatoon, if you are first, right, if Haikatoon goes first, that as soon as she goes with this speed, if Seeker has this much speed, Seeker will always go directly after Haikatoon. There's no way for there's a couple of ways, a couple of champions like Valkyrie, etc., some rare champions that can interrupt this, but outside of those special champions, you can see them here, like enemy Valkyrie, Maul, this sort of stuff, right? There's a few examples. He will always go next. And then if he goes, he gives us a 30% turn meter, then War Maiden will go, and then Elhain will go. And these are the speeds that we need. So we can see that, okay, if we bring in our Haikatoon at 280 speed, we have a Seeker at, let's say, 232 speed. Then if our War Maiden is 179, and our Elhain, our starter champion, who I have Galek in this case, is up at 177, actually a very slow speed, they will actually all go boom, 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 one after the other, and we can be very effective, right? If I look at, if I show you the actual Hex team that I was running right there, now my account, I'm actually not that fast for how far I am in the game. I've never really focused on farming any speed gear, so my Arbiter is actually pretty damn slow compared to my competitors. That's often a problem for me. I'm up at 334 speed with my Arbiter. Then my Lanicus 266, followed up then by Thea with 200. If I plug that into the calculator, which I have done, here we go. We come in here, we can see I've got my Arbiter aura, 30%. Arbiter doing her move with her gear. So her actual speed is actually 366.54 when we add up the bonuses of the aura and all of that. Lanicus, to go second, would need 248 speed. Mine is 260 something, so mine's actually even faster than she needs to be, so that's good. And then Thea actually only needs to be 197. Unfortunately, Mithrala doesn't factor in here, so that can throw things off. So you can see that, yeah, for my team, our stuff does line up. Now, you will see that we did get cut in there, that their team took a turn before this. So let's talk about a couple of the weaknesses of this particular team. And the strengths as well. I mean, the strength of it is that you go first and you just blow up the enemy team. You put out a ton of damage. You all get to take your turn before they get to take their turn. The thing to watch out for that I've been mentioning here is she doesn't have it. Of course she doesn't. Arbiter has it. Arbiter, where are you at, Arbiter? There you are. So Arbiter has it. So this mastery can be a problem. Cycle of Revenge. 50% chance to increase turn meter by 15% when an ally is attacked with a critical hit. So you have to be careful of this. If you have any champions in your team that are going to attack before your nuker, and if they can crit, everyone has a small chance to crit, of course, this can trigger this mastery on the opposing team and then get them started and have their stuff start happening. So you need to watch out for Cycle of Revenge. That can be dangerous. So for example, with my team here, with this particular team I showed you, because Mithrala comes in and she has an AoE attack to place Hex, and we need to place that Hex for Thea to do her nuke, this can be dangerous because she has a 39% chance to crit. So for every enemy she hits, there's a chance that she's going to crit, there's a chance they get some turn meter, and that they could then cut in and interrupt me. So always be wary of that mastery. It can put you off. You can build extra speed. You can in fact account for that in the calculator. You could build your champions extra fast so that even if you do crit them, that you'll still have your turns go off, right? So we can do that. We can go into the calculator and we can say that let's say enemy passives, let's say that, or enemy masteries. Let's go with Cycle of Revenge. Boom. So they have Cycle of Revenge. You can see that the speed needed now jumps way up, right? It jumps up a lot. So we could adjust our builds based off of that, where we could sort of design our team with champions that are not going to trigger it. So actually, good example would be, let me see if can we see a team here that's using the champions? No. Let's refresh it again. Okay, so this is actually, here we go. Here we go, exactly. Not exactly I was looking for, I was looking for, what's her name? The high elf that goes quick, Lysandra. But this is another great example. So this team, we've got the Arbiter, then they have Sylar and Madame Ceres, and then their nuker with Ethos. So this is another classic example with a team that's designed not to trigger that. And this is why those champions are so good, these two Void Epics. So I don't actually have Madame Ceres, but Sylar comes in. She does a decreased speed and decreases enemy turn meter. It's not a physical attack though, so it won't trigger that mastery. And it's sort of the same as another turn meter boost for your team, but it's a turn meter push down for the enemy team. So long as you have enough accuracy and you do this effectively to the enemy team, it's actually even better than boosting your own turn meter. So she's great for this. And then Madame Ceres comes in, and again, this is not an attack, but strip buffs, decrease defense, decrease attacks. So here you go. You've debuffed the enemy team, you've pushed them back. Now your nuker comes in, they are more vulnerable, they've got no buffs left, and you haven't done any attacks that could potentially trigger turn meter. So that's something to watch out for. And then, of course, in terms of champions, while we're talking about it, there are champions, to mention a couple, that can interrupt you. Valkyrie can interrupt you, right? Enemy champions have their turn meter decreased by 10% for each buff they received. That can interrupt you, for sure. It can throw out your speed tune completely. Another great example, I use him all the time, which is part of why I never farm speed gear. Tormin, 20% chance bucks up to 30%, 35% with masteries, 35% chance to put a freeze debuff on the enemy whenever they receive a buff or have their turn meter filled. And you can do it once for buffs and once for turn meter fills per enemy turn as well. So Arbiter comes in, she fills your turn meter, gives you increased attack. I get 35% chances to freeze you with Torment. So that can obviously really throw off your team as well. Molly, another great example with her passive, fills turn meters of all allies when this champion is hit. And there's other champions with similar passives and stuff that you have to watch out for. But that's not the biggest weakness of this team comp. Yeah, I mean, effectively, right? This team comp is going to be real good. Let's show it in action again, shall we? Actually, so let's go up against these guys and we'll see, are we faster or are we not? This guy's level 9. Let's go up against a couple of them and we'll see. So here you go. Main weakness number 1 is whoever is fastest is probably going to win. So will the masteries kick in? So far, so good. But again, this ally attack could trigger more masteries. It did slightly. Luckily, it's not going to interrupt us too much, and boom, we blow them up. Let's hit the other guy. Whoever goes first is most likely going to win. This is sort of the issue that you run into. So if we find an enemy team that's faster, here we go. They push us back. We are in serious trouble. We are debuffed. Actually, I should have taken control of Mithrala right there. Actually, we're fine. Mithrala doing her thing. Look at her go. So Mithrala, his gear's not good enough. If he had slightly better gear, he would have destroyed me. Maybe not. I should have had Mithrala do her other move first. She's just petrified the entire enemy team. Yo, Mithrala, this is not supposed to be a Mithrala showcase. What are you doing? That's kind of hilarious, actually. But yeah, so whoever goes first is supposed to win is what I'm trying to say. Mithrala sometimes bugs stuff out, and you can see that the game froze. It's kind of weird. Yeah, whoever goes first is supposed to win. He might still win his ethos. Looks like he might get in. Nah, never mind. We killed him. So that's a big issue, right? Big issue number 1 is you're reliant on speed. Whoever goes first, Boomeris, you're ruining my video. You're ruining my point. Whoever goes first is supposed to win, right? Whoever goes first, most of the time, is going to win. So it becomes a gamble. Are you faster than the enemy player? It's hard to know that, right? And if you've got kind of dodgy speed gear like I have, you're kind of taking your life in your hands, right? It's a bit of a risk, and you might want to be, especially in 3v3 arena when you're pushing for that and you've got limited attempts, you know, that is a big danger. Now, the other big danger is something that Mithrala has on, and that's reaction accessories, guys. You get these from CVC, 25% chance to turn a critical hit into a normal hit when attacked before the first turn. I have 2 of these on Mithrala. She has a 50% chance. It's a coin toss when she gets nuked by the enemy team. If they go first, 50% chance to turn that crit into a normal hit, and she's not going to die from that. most likely she's going to survive. So that is a big issue that starts to come in as you go later into the game. Will my enemy have reaction accessories or not? Because if they do, and we go first, going first is actually not an advantage here. We're just going to hit their reaction and they're not going to die. And the other big issue as well is that we bring in these speed boosting champions that are going to make us go faster, but they're not going to do other things, right? Because they're speed boosting, which means they're not doing other sorts of things. And then we can run into champions that are just too tanky to kill. So I think the best example, and probably my most wanted Void my most wanted Void Legendary. I kind of would really like that Krisk tournament, which is going on right now. I love a Krisk or a Sifi as well. But Nekret the Great, he comes in, he puts block debuffs, strengthen, 50% ally protection, which cannot be removed, onto your squishiest target. So he puts this insane amount of protection onto your nuker. Now, whenever they're hit, he also gives them a shield equal to 30% of his max HP. And he has very, very high max HP. So you put a Nekret in something like a Stone Skin set, he is protecting the nuker, and it's very difficult to kill a nuker that Nekret is protecting, right? He absorbs so much damage that they can survive, and then your speed team is left vulnerable because the nuker has survived. They're good to go. And there are very strong defensive nukers that you can run into. Chandrafon is probably the most classic example. Chandrafon gives himself Perfect Veil whenever an enemy's turn meter is filled and it cannot be removed, so you can't directly target him. He gets 15% damage reduction from the Perfect Veil. He takes 40% less damage under Veil or Perfect Veil. If he's protected by a Nekret, you're basically not going to be able to kill Chandrafon, and he will be able to get his attack off, right? So there are champions that are very difficult to kill. Not to mention champions like Duchess, who reduce damage from AoE attacks, are incredibly tanky. Another champion, Rotos, for example, is another great example. With his passive, damage from a single hit will not exceed 50% of his max HP, and he gets an extra turn if that damage reduction occurs. So there are lots of champions out there that will prevent you from actually just outright killing them. Ursica, another great example, decreases the damage all allies receive from critical hits by 30%. She takes the damage instead. You put her in, and she's just, going to protect that team. So with the right champions and the right gear, that's another weakness of this double speed booster team, is that you simply won't have enough damage to punch on through, right? So that is definitely something to watch out for. That being said, is this a good team? Yeah, it's certainly good. I've actually we'll see. I put it in on defense as well. And how's it doing on defense? I mean, kind of hilariously, I've left this in on defense for a while. It's actually doing all right. I actually kind of find this quite funny. We've got some people are attempting a couple of goes. Like this guy came in, he beat me the second time with, I guess, same champions, just a bit of better luck. But yeah, it's quite interesting. So you can see, for example, right here, he obviously outsped me. There's the Lysandra I was mentioning earlier. Funny, we actually beat a Torment team right there, which would typically be a weakness of this team. I guess it just must have been kind of lucky, or obviously only in goal 4 right now. But I put it in on defense, and you can see that, hey, even when a lot of players have the opportunity to even target this team directly and they know exactly what they're fighting. Obviously, Mithrala is throwing that off a little bit, I suspect, but it's still an effective team. It can put out a kind of scary amount of damage. I'm kind of baiting. People think Thea's really bad, so I'm kind of baiting them in, and it's kind of working somewhat, only somewhat. But yeah, there is a use for this team, and especially when you go up. Are there any defensive teams? Here's a nice defensive team. So this is, he's from my clan cluster as well. Oh, that's fun. He's from Sin. Cool. Let's see how we do against this team. This should be fun. He's got, so he's got Revive on Death here. That's cool. So I guess he's going to revive Little Miss Annie, and then she's going to nuke us, I guess is what's going on right there. So I don't know. Let's target Lydia, I guess. Uh-oh. Little Miss Annie, no. She got a counterattack off. That's not good. We need to take our turn, please. We've petrified Lydia. Oh, we've petrified her as well. Mithrala is just making us win this. So here you can see we actually got very much cut in. She's going to revive up. She is going to kill my Thea. This is interesting, this composition that he's got going on here. So now when we try to revive, he's going to absolutely murder me. Oh, I guess I used my revive already. Oh, that's not good. Uh-oh. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. He's got a fun team here. The issue is that when Arbiter revives, Lydia's going to block revive. So we weren't able to actually do enough damage to finish off his team. That's cool. That is a cool team. Yeah, I'm totally happy if we end this one on a loss. You can see we didn't have enough damage to actually knock through. Yeah, he's easily going to smash me. That was cool. I like that. I like that team. I definitely do. Where is he? Where is he? Here he is. So we could come in and I could switch it up. I could put in like a block revive team instead. This is another version of a double speed boost, but this time we're going to bring in a couple of champions that can block revive. So our own Lydia and a Foley, and we'll see what happens this time. Let's see if we can target her some. Potentially fear her. Didn't quite work. So like this time we absolutely smash him because we block revive, because his team was relying on Little Miss Annie actually reviving. Little Miss Annie is a really cool passive. When she revives, that she kills people. So like this is a different variant of this team, bringing in another really good nuker for Arena. That basically is exploiting the block revive of Foley's AoE and the block revive from Lydia. So a different version that brings maybe a bit more explosive power, not relying on the hex and stuff like that. But yeah, you get the idea, guys. That's a few different sorts of teams that you can sort of bring in along the lines of this. It has its place. It has insane just nuking potential, just out the gates, just blow them up in one single hit. If you go first, you can win, and it's very good for 3v3 Arena. Obviously, it's not so good in Classic Arena, where you're kind of playing that gamble. Will we be faster? Will we not be faster? In 3v3 Arena, though, I probably can't show you any real teams here in 3v3. Unfortunately, I'm stuck in Silver 4. I have weddings every weekend for the next... I had one last weekend. I have weddings for the next 2 weekends. Maybe after that, we can get into something real. But like, if we look at this team for 3v3, like, he's got a speed team. This is going to be fast. This is another speed-ish team. And then he's got a slow team, albeit he has Hegemon and Valkyrie. So it's not the slowest slow team in the world, you might say. But, you know, people are not going to have 3 super fast teams. You're just not going to have the gear. There's no way you're going to have the gear to have 3 teams all maximum speed. You know, at the very least, your weakest team is going to be outsped. So people will build some defensive teams, and this sort of speed nuke team is actually still very good. If we look at the defense log, I remember getting some comments before. People were like, man, your defense log sucks. Yeah, don't worry, my friends. We got the one-man defenses in here to farm easy points with low things. But you can see people are running speed teams. Actually, this guy's even got quite a slow speed team there with a gore grab. That's cool. But yeah, you can see typically like 2 speed teams here and then a slower team. Again, here, 2 speed teams and then a slower team. You get the gist, and you can pick up some ideas here as well if I flick through this of the sort of team comps that people are putting together here. It's only Silver 4 in Tag Arena, but it's probably more competitive even than the stuff you're seeing in Classic Arena. So for some later game teams, you can pick up some ideas. So there you go. Guys, that was a quick, I guess it's not that quick of a look. It's like a 20-minute video. Let me know if this was too long. Should I shorten it down? Let me know what you think. But yeah, that was a long-ish look at the double speed booster team. Kind of the team that was meta when I first started playing. It absolutely still has a place. It still has a strength. But it also nowadays has a lot of weaknesses, some counters like Stone Skin, reaction sets, just the better tankier champions that have been released recently as well. So it does have some weaknesses there. But guys, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.